violations of federal law. There were demonstrations in Denmark. They're protesting President Trump's push to take over the Danish territory of Greenland. And moments ago, the president said that the U.S. will impose tariffs on European countries who've sent troops to Greenland. This comes as U.S. lawmakers are in Copenhagen to meet with Danish and NATO leaders. Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski called for more discussion.
I would encourage the Greenlandic people, keep those avenues of dialogue and partnership open.
Team of scientists published a study in the health journal Lancet saying that in more than 60 different studies of over 1 million children, there's no finding that taking Tylenol during pregnancy causes autism, attention deficit, or hyperactivity in children. Flu continues to surge with at least 18 million cases and 9,300 deaths, putting a strain on hospitals like Portsmouth Regional in New Hampshire, where Trevor Ide, a director, says
we are about 10% of our inpatient beds are filled with influenza patients. In years past around the same time, we've been about 1 to 2%.
You're listening to 2046.
A Maumee man is headed to prison for causing a deadly crash.
It's 2 years in prison for Desmond Dobit, the man who killed Lori Green in a crash along the Anthony Wayne Trail last spring. Dobit ran a red light and struck the other vehicle, which also injured that driver. He was convicted in November on vehicular assault and aggravated vehicular homicide for the May 29th crash. Dobit's license was also suspended for 5 years. I'm Lee Mowen.
A Cleveland man is learning his sentence after being convicted of rape in Stark County. Prosecutors say that Tawan Tyson sexually assaulted the victim inside her Jackson Township home. Tyson has been sentenced to a term of 10 to 15 years in prison. An Ohio representative claims proof of fraud in Ohio daycare system.
I don't want to see our citizens journalists going in and creating hostile environments where children may be present, causing escalations. But they've obviously been able to discover some things that were missed.
State Representative Josh Williams talking to the media Thursday as he introduces the Child Care Fraud Prevention Act, while praising citizen journalists for finding fraud in Ohio's daycare system. He claims those journalists are finding fraud by going door to door at random daycares asking to see children inside. When WSYX asked Williams if that was true proof of fraud, he responded, "That's just an allegation of fraud." His bill requires daycares to install cameras and make them accessible to state inspectors for real-time audits. I'm Lee Mowen.
The Akron Zoo is now home to a pair of orphaned mountain lions. The cubs were rescued by the Washington State Department of Fish and Wildlife and are acclimating to their new environment before going on public display. The sister cubs, named Ozette and Nina, are estimated to be about 5 months old. I'm Andy Betts.
Work for Perry, so that may be why I don't know it.
Traffic and weather.
If you're not informed, then you're out of the loop.
All you have to do is ask.
Play 610 WTVN on iHeartRadio.
What?
From the Odoo.com Traffic Center. Odoo.com.
I don't think I ever
the only business software you need.
Here we go, guys.
Wallet feeling a little light after the holidays? Get the post-chaos cure at Coghlan Kia, Central Ohio's largest volume Kia dealer. Get 0% plus no payments for 90 days on specially marked new Kias. Or get up to $4,000 bonus cash on select new models. Visit CoglanKia.com. Coghlan has the car for you.
This is Legacy.
Available on select in-stock units with a
40 seconds.
90-day deferred payments to transfer by model. 48 months on 25 Telluride. 60 months on 25 Sorento. See dealer for details. Ends 2226.
Have you heard Winning Retirement Radio with Greg and Kristen Taylor?
Tax rates, I really believe, are going to be the downfall of a lot of retirements. Because we thought we were going to have this much money to spend.
Valid point.
And Uncle Sam says, wait a minute. A lot of that money really belongs to me, so now I'm going to start collecting. Are you prepared for that?
We'll dive into the conversation more after the news at the top of the hour here on News Radio 610 WTVN and anytime at LegacyRetirementGroup.com.
See an accident? Let us know at the Curtis & Associates Traffic Tip Line at 821-1111. Curtis & Associates, trust and experience of attorneys who care.
Don't worry. I don't have some long, big, drawn-out monologue today to bore you with. But I do have something that I want to say with all sincerity, and it's not to scare anyone, and it's not to talk all doom and gloom. But if you haven't noticed, since 2020, our world has changed. Our streets have changed. We may have decreased homicides in our city, and the politicians, they throw up all kinds of nice stats to get you to re-elect them. But please listen, the streets have changed. The rules for the streets have changed. If you're not in law enforcement or you're not crazy like us and keeping up with everything that goes on around you, you don't know what's happening every day in your neighborhood or one close by you. Ones that have traditionally been safe. In places you never thought it would happen. Guys, it's happening. And the criminal element continues to be emboldened and given a pass to continue. I'm not talking about petty things that will always happen. I mean things that are serious. Don't be paranoid, because if you are, they win. But be prepared. Be careful and know what is going on around you at all times. And when possible, avoid situations that will put you in harm's way. I just have this feeling that we're on the cusp of 2020 2.0. And now's the time to have a plan. On Target, it's up next.
Live from LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is On Target, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program may not be politically correct, but it is On Target. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
You know, one time I hit your mic button 2 seconds early and you talk. You can't quit because we don't pay you.
My last show.
We don't pay you, so you can't quit.
Okay.
Guys, welcome to On Target. I'm your host, Eric, joined today in the LAPD studios. I got all my friends sitting around me if they're not in the live studio audience.
Hey, very live audience, yeah.
They're sitting around me here at the table with JC and Big Ed and my good friend Brian here we're going to get to. Guys, what's going on? How is everyone?
It's great. It's great to see Chuck, and great to see him back. He's not here, but he's out there, so it's good to see
Chuck's
him.
always out there.
Yeah, he's always.
I mean,
really
Chuck is always out there.
Yeah,
yes.
that's right.
Yes. Guys, I tell you, there's just, you know, and I wish I could talk more specifically about it, but I'm telling you, and Brian, you can chime in because I know you're seeing it too. It is different out there. It is not the same streets that it was in 2020 and pre. And this in the town specifically, because that's what I know and hear and see, it's different. It's things that are happening around here that has never happened in the 30 years I've been in law enforcement. I mean, Brian, are you noticing upticks in your areas?
Yeah, I think we've seen, an uptick in like theft crime and things like that, but I think just attitudes are a little bit different as well with everything going on. It's just a strange time for, I think, everybody.
It is, and I tell you what, I mean, specifically this week, I mean, there were some, you're always going to have your petty thefts and you're always going to have your criminal element, but there was some serious stuff that went on this week up in this end of town that I can't believe. I mean, it was, in the day, it would be stuff that we'd be talking about for weeks, if not months. Hey, do you remember when that happened? And nowadays, it's the daily cycle. It's the daily cycle of stuff. It's just crazy. So just be careful out there, guys.
Yeah. Okay.
So, guys, we are the owners of LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility and are active in law enforcement. But for 1 hour on Saturdays, we put together a group of firearm experts to discuss new products in the market, training tips, and oftentimes political topics surrounding the Second Amendment. Our commitment, though, has always been to bring you the facts about our industry and help customers and listeners with safe, responsible ownership of firearms. Guys, you didn't say anything about my support for our education system that I'm wearing today.
Oh, yeah. You've got that leering center. I have seen you leer a couple of times, so I guess maybe that's a good thing.
Yes, that is it. And there's going to be shirts. We're having some shirts made up there, Edward, so we'll have some for you here shortly. Speechless.
Am I allowed to talk now?
When I point to you.
Oh, I didn't see you point to me.
What else? JC, did you get a chance to watch the podcast? I had a great opportunity this week to sit with some.
It was excellent. I know you prefaced it by, hey, if you need to get some sleep. I watched it twice. It was just really excellent. You were on a panel with 3 top-notch attorneys who deal with nothing but firearms cases, and one handles all the police cases, I think.
Yeah, Mark Collins. I was.
So, and they were all excellent. So
yeah, it's great to see those guys in that setting. Casual setting, and I was what we're talking about is a podcast with our good friend Steve Palmer called I think Lawyer Talk.
Yeah,
and I was on there. Dave Goldstein, who does a lot of civil cases for law enforcement, and then Mark Collins, who is always in the news, unfortunately, right now, and is going to be right back in the news with Deputy Meade case here in a week. So I mean, it was good to see those guys in that environment and to talk firsthand with them, and it was good. I mean, it was over an hour long, but it was really good.
It went by fast. I watched it twice. It was just really excellent. Yeah,
twice.
twice.
Couldn't
But
get
you have
some
to go back and get it, because they list several of the cases that are really pertinent to things that we're talking about almost every week when we do the show, so it's good.
Guys, this week we got to thank Jake last week from the store for jumping on with us, talking about suppressors. If it is time for you to buy a suppressor, stop by, let us help you get through that process, because now is a great time to buy them without that tax stamp in place. And who knows if that's going to last down the road with the next administration. Today, though, we got a little bit of news to get to. One, JC, it is just, it's funny because it was not even on our radar, but it is interesting. I didn't even know it was out there for debate or in the courts and stuff, but we'll get to that shortly. It's something that could have an impact, a significant impact for us and others as well.
Yeah,
so
all citizens, basically.
So we'll get to that. The gun of the week, we actually missed it last week because we went over on time, but we're going to try it again today, and that is brought to you by our good friends up at Blackwing. I should mention they are a great sponsor of the show, as is U.S. Law Shield, Jackson Egress Windows, River's Edge Cutlery, and of course LEPD Training Facility, all who make the show possible each week. If you missed the show, it's out there on podcast, really any place you get your podcast, Ed. So out there on YouTube and Facebook, and right now, if you're on Facebook, Ed will talk to you.
Yeah,
I will. There. Yeah, Ed's monitoring that there, so if you have questions, give him a shout out on that. Guys, JC, what do you have for the news?
All right, I'll start with a quick one here first. This is a follow-up to something that I talked about several weeks ago that took place in Montana, the entry without a warrant into private home. So Supreme Court just came back on Wednesday and backed the policy where the police entry without a warrant in case of emergency. So Montana officials had defended the actions of law enforcement officers who did not have a warrant when they responded to a possibly suicidal Army veteran. They were so concerned about it, they waited for about 20 minutes before they went in discussing what can they do. They said they don't have a warrant, but can we do it? Let's do it. So the Supreme Court on Wednesday said law enforcement officials had the flexibility to enter a home without a warrant based on reports that someone inside may need emergency help. Decision with implications for police tactics and also for citizens' private expectation of privacy in one's home. So it was a unanimous decision, 9-0. Justices said that the people in Montana had acted appropriately when they entered an Army veteran's home without a warrant because they had, quote from the justice, said objectively reasonable basis for believing that a homeowner intended to take his own life and indeed may have already shot himself, said Justice Alina Kagan, wrote for the court. One thing I liked about this was the county. It's just the best county name I've run into so far. There's about 3,500 different counties, but this took place in the county of Anaconda, Deer Lodge County in Montana.
So we can get a patch from
them. For the Sheriff's Department. But in any case, the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution prohibits unreasonable searches and provides protections for a person's home by generally prohibiting law enforcement from entering without a warrant, but they carved out this special niche, which certainly makes sense. They had reasonable belief. I mean, the guy had attempted things before, and now his partner said, look, he's going to do it this time. So anyway, so that was good.
That's good.
I'm not sure that this should even went to the Supreme Court. I mean, we've always had exigent
circumstances.
If we have knowledge that there's somebody being hurt inside a home to enter.
Yeah, this one, I don't know why. Brian, do you know why this went to the courts in the first place? Are you familiar with this case at all?
I'm not familiar with this case, but I think anytime we have someone who is in danger of harming themselves or others, I mean, we have to go in.
Right.
We have to make sure that everybody's okay. I mean, we've been doing that for years.
Yeah.
There was some hiccup in this one, and where is Bob Meter when you need him? There was some hiccup in this one when that needed to go to court for. I don't know why. I don't remember the specifics.
They didn't see the person. It was like an ex-partner or something.
There was something
that they
there.
thought that they could do, and so they sat outside, but they didn't hear anything, no response, and it could have been an empty house, but they made the decision.
But it's always good when the courts reaffirm something that has been standard practice, because, Brian, you can imagine, and Ed too, you have a court that changed the path, and you literally change how law enforcement does its job overnight. I mean, this is the complexities of being a law enforcement officer in the world today. You have to keep up on all of this, and that is something that could have changed how you act on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I think too, these cases are things that we're seeing more and more. I mean, we're seeing more and more calls of people who are in some sort of mental crisis, and maybe their neighbors or their family can't control what's going on, so they're calling out to us to come in and help. And so I think it's really important that we have tools like that allow us to go in and make sure that everyone's safe. And then, two, officers need to understand that if you get in a situation like that and there's something more and that exigency has disappeared, that's where we're going to go out and we're going to get a warrant and we're going to do all that stuff.
Right. But it's complex. I mean, Brian, you're in it. Been in it for a number of years now, but it is not a simple task when you strap on your gun and your badge and go out there. I mean, there's so many complexities to it nowadays that you have to consider in every step you do.
Yeah, not only just the legal stuff, but just the tactics and making sure that we're safe and the people, not only the people that we're serving, that they get the help that they need, but that everyone else, being a sergeant, everyone else on the shift, you want to make sure that they go home to their families as well.
Right, absolutely. JC, what other news you have out there?
Well, this is the big one that we talked about that certainly could have an effect, and it came from out of the blue, but the Department of Justice says that the United States Postal Service, that the fact that their gun mail ban is unconstitutional. And this just kind of dropped out of nowhere, except there is a court case involved, so that may have come to the attention of the DOJ. But basically, they said it's a position on the constitutionality of the federal ban against civilians shipping pistols through the post office service. So on Thursday, the DOJ's legal counsel released a review of the shipping ban and concluded it violates the Second Amendment. What they said, the Assistant Attorney General is T. Elliott Gazer, wrote this, and he said it is unconstitutional. This is the U.S. Code, so it's Section 1715 of Title 18 in the U.S. Code, said it's unconstitutional as applied to the constitutionally protected firearms, including handguns, because it serves as an illegitimate purpose and is inconsistent with the nation's tradition of firearms regulations. So the assistant attorney wrote that the Department of Justice may not, consistent with the Constitution, enforce Section 1715 with respect to the constitutionally protected firearms. The Postal Service should modify its regulations to conform with this opinion. So this is kind of a big deal. This new position, as I said, could reshape how American civilians buy, sell, loan, transfer handguns and other concealable firearms. Currently, anyone who does not have a federal firearms license is prohibited under the law from shipping concealable firearm through the mail. Instead, they have to rely on FFLs to serve as sort of a paid middleman in order to send and receive handguns, also short-barreled shotguns that are legalized, and short-barreled rifles that have approval. And this is the case where the person purchasing from a gun dealer outside of a local area can also ship it through the mail. And people say, what's the big deal about that? Well, there's a lot of states, they give several examples, like if you're taking a flight to Maine and your plane gets diverted and you are allowed to carry the gun there, but you land in New York, well, there you go. It's a felony with mandatory prison time, or New Jersey's even worse. That's 3 years. So they said this is like crazy. If you can't take it with you, how do you get it there? And and so, a lot of the bus companies don't allow transportation of firearms, but they said this is a safe way. You can mail it ahead of time.
So are these circumstances where you're mailing it to yourself? I mean, we've seen that before. I mean,
you can't mail it to yourself, it said. So it has to be mailed. It could be mailed to a post office box, I guess. But
I mean, do you mail it? But there's no stipulations about it going through an FFL on the other side or anything?
That's what it says. So if you have your gun that you own and you're transporting it, I mean, for sporting purposes, we've heard stories about, people taking shotguns and have several to go to American trap shooting organizations, and there's states that you can't go through, especially if it's with a handgun. But they said now you can mail it ahead of time, so you can probably arrange for a post office box.
I wonder what that will do, like in our business. I mean, when we ship out handguns, you can't ship it via the post office now, but maybe that will open a door up there as well. So
they also said it was devised. This came out in 1927 is when this act first passed, a long time ago in the gangster areas. But they said that it could be a big deal that people can ship them, but not everything. They said it does not apply to unconstitutionally covered ones. Like they said, guns that basically. The 3D guns, they said that is one thing. If it's, or they said kind of trick guns, ornament guns. They mentioned pen guns that are basically used for like they used this word assassin. That's what they used in here. So I'm wondering about the credit card,
right.
22, things like that. But they said, other than that, they said it does not, forbid, it does not stop the post office from refusing to, but it categorizes those as unconstitutionally protected.
It's funny, JC, a lot of the roots to this show actually go back to the post office. Do you remember that, John?
Oh, I certainly do.
And it was one day early on when we first started that Dad, of all people, was taking a rifle to the post office to ship.
Yep,
and we were doing it legally. We have our FFL. And the lady across the counter says, I'm not going to ship this because, do you remember what she said, JC?
Not exactly, but I thought she didn't believe in it personally.
She said, I can't accept this because it's against my religious beliefs.
My religion. That's right.
And at that time, we had representatives from a local station in here, and things were crazy. And I said, "Man, we need a reality show." And right there is where it started.
Yeah, I remember what she was wearing, and I remember that was really, really strange.
Yep.
And by the way, that court case kind of brought this up. Gun Owners of America is currently challenging this federal prohibition in the Third Circuit Court. It's called Shreve versus USPS. So maybe that's what brought it to the DOJ's attention, and they jumped on it ahead of time. But it's kind of a surprise ruling.
Yeah, good stuff. Guys, let's jump to a break. On the other side, we have a little bit more news. We have a gun of the week, and we have Sergeant McKean with us. What more could you want? We're on Target, broadcasting live from the studios of LAPD Firearms and Range. We'll be back after the break.
Yeah. Here's what's happening. War and rest in Minneapolis after the death of Renee Good.
Get out of the way! Get out of the way! It's a sweet one involving russets. The sweet potato.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is a good one. This is fun. The guy has a real sense of humor about it, too. But
Ed, do you want to do weather?
Do you want me to do weather?
I want you to do weather. Don't screw it up.
We could talk later, and I'll tell you.
It's all out there right now on.
Yeah.
He's not speaking on behalf of the agency.
Yeah.
He's speaking from experience.
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
1 minute.
1 minute, Ed. You got it? You read it over once? Let's not read it for the first time when I point to you. And he keeps coming back every week. Every week.
I think I picked the right spot to stand. It seems like.
Oh, you did, because then I'm always
constant. It's constant.
It was worse when Dad was here.
Jesus. I keep coming back. That's the scary thing.
I know. Got no place to go.
That's coming to an end too.
This is interesting on that last statute. They said it was, he just puts in there, it was actually intended to impede constitutionally protected rights.
Really?
Yeah, that the folks didn't want them shipping back then, and they said, how can we stop this? And they said, great, we'll just say you can't ship it by mail. And FedEx and the rest of the groups weren't in existence back then, so U.S. mail was pretty much it. So,
how long, Al?
10 seconds.
10 seconds. Ed, you ready? Are you ready?
No.
I'm not going to bug you either.
Liar. Your ABC6 first warning weather. Today, scattered snow showers, cloudy, a high of 34. Tonight, mostly cloudy skies with very cold, low of 13. Sunday, mostly cloudy skies, evening snow showers, high of 22. It's currently 35 on your severe weather station News Radio 610 WTVN.
Traffic, weather, and interesting talk. News Radio 610 WTVN.
Yo, VIP. Let's kick it.
I never thought there'd be an opportunity to play Vanilla Ice on the show.
Ice, baby.
Yes, but I saw the opportunity. I went with it. Ella found the song. Ed, pretty good job on the weather. Now, we pay by the minute. If you step that up a little bit, give us a little more time to talk.
Brett says, Ed, don't leave. Well, there's one person that might keep me around.
My mom likes you, too. Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Eric, joined today in the LAPD studio. We got a huge live studio audience today.
Audience out here. Yeah.
And in that audience, and I can't believe he's not up here saying something, but in that audience, we have the Queen and her sidekick.
The Queen and her sidekick.
Yes, Mr. Chuck Douglas is out there.
Was that the Queen or was that the sidekick?
Yeah, I can't believe he's not up here either.
I know it.
He's so quiet. He's so quiet.
I've never seen him that quiet.
But I've never seen him that skinny. He's looking good.
He looks good.
Yeah.
He does look good. Also have JC. We have my good friend, Sergeant McKean, local training officer for a local department right here, do a lot of training for us, actually, and stuff. So soon we're going to be talking to you about some optics.
Yep.
Are you ready? Do you
I'm
get all
ready.
your notes ready?
I got all my notes. I'm ready.
You know
to
it's
go.
only like a half an hour we're only going to have for you. That's a lot of notes there, but now I'm
He
giving you-
reads fast.
Yeah, we might have to have a part 2.
Perfect. JC, what else you got?
This is my favorite story of the week. A man successfully registers a potato as a silencer with the ATF. So, okay, the serial number, TATE, Tate 001. So that's the official serial number that appears on the first legally registered 9mm potato silencer, according to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. It's registered to a man named Zach Clark, who said he pulled off the feat as an act kind of a protest to the NFA. It said it's a good way to highlight to normal people that, yeah, this is dumb, but the whole law is kind of dumb. So he decided, hey, if I'll see if I can get it through. Probably went through because of all the 150,000 ones that came in one day, and his was one of those. While the NFA requires registration of all sound-suppressing devices that attach to a gun barrel to be registered to the ATF, it also provides a process for people to register ones that they want to make themselves. So if they want to manufacture one with a homemade design, but that's got to be approved also. So he filled out the forms and he went ahead and submitted it. And again, you have to get approval not just for the suppressor, but approval to be a manufacturer of that. So Clark went through this. This guy's name, I think I mentioned Zach Clark. Clark went through the process with his potato suppressor design. He said he had to make sure to keep potatoes out of his house while he waited to hear back from the ATF, since it was going to be, so he had to remove all potatoes from his house. Clark said, at the moment, he goes, I have a serialized washer, which is what he used to attach to the potato. I have the potato, but I haven't put it together yet because there's a manufacturing kind of a time buffer that he's waiting for approval. So you got to get approval to manufacture it before he can actually put it together, and he hadn't had that yet. He goes, plus there's a whole lot of things like, what's your manufacturing intent? You know, does it count when you buy the potato? What about any other potatoes you have in your house? Does that put you in legal questioning? So he said there's other legal questions that he had. He goes, gee, what if you plant your registered potato and it creates more potatoes? Are they under the same serial number, or do you have to, is that a manufacturing issue that you have to submit? Clark said it's possible that the ATF mistakenly approved his potato, but he's not worried about him breaking his registration. He goes, if they do, he simply is going to bake it and have it for dinner. Another onside to this, he submitted 2 other ones using 3D printed things, and he said they're exactly the same as this one with metal. He said the only difference was, he said, I used a russet potato this time. So maybe he thought that may be. But
wow,
anyway,
so they actually approved it.
They actually approved it. So now he's waiting for the manufacturing approval, and then he's going to put
So if
together
something happens to that potato, he's going to have to take it off the registry.
Well, he has a picture of it that he sent in, so yeah, we'll have to wait and see. They could just delay this by a fact, and he may have a mashed potato by the time they get the manufacturing approval. But anyway, I thought that was a pretty great story.
Wow. So, JC, the gun of the week, and actually we only have about a minute here, but I feel like we need to talk about it because we didn't last week, but it was in line with our suppressor conversation last week. It was the FN 502, which is a great, have you played with one?
I haven't, but it looks a lot like the other ones, the 508s and 509s.
Exactly, yeah. So it's kind of along that same the same thinking and stuff. I believe it's single action only, but it's a nice little 22. You can put an optic on it, and there's some great packages out there right now.
And it's great training. So if you own one of the other guns, just like Glock did with their 44, you come out with the size. So when you're handling it and getting your stance and getting your grip, and it'll be the same when you switch over to your 508, 509, 510. Well, 510 is a little bigger, but anyway, it's a great training tool. And it's an FN, so probably manufactured by one of those other companies with the FN name. As I found out when I bought my Sig Sauer, it was actually manufactured by not Sig Sauer. Anyway, it's a great gun. It's got great handling characteristics, and all the controls are familiar. They're the same.
And as it sits here, it has a little suppressor on it, so it's kind of nice.
Very nice.
Yeah. Guys, let's jump to a bottom of the hour news. When we come back, we're going to talk to Sergeant McKean about optics. Is it something you should consider for your pistol? And if you do, what is your next step? We're on Target, broadcasting live from the studios of LEPD Firearms Range. We'll be back after the break.
Uncover Central Ohio's sustainability accomplishments on a walk, in the car, at the office,
Time
or
goes
just
quick.
about anywhere you
look
are.
up and you're like,
Tune in every month to Waste Ed, a waste and recycling
for young
podcast by
shooters as you're starting to
Swaco.
get
Find
them
us on the
acclimated,
iHeartRadio app
right?
or wherever you like to listen.
There's no place in hockey where you'll find more passion, more pride, and more boom. Make some memories with the Columbus Dispatch Family Value Pack.
Thank you, Ella.
I don't know if it had been approved yet, but he also mentioned in the article that someone had tried to register a pillow as a suppressor.
Really?
He sent in a picture of Mike Lindell holding up my pillow. He said with his documentation, he goes, I haven't heard if that was been approved, but I don't know if it attached actually to his, but yeah, interesting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Chuck, you want to say hi to your fans when we come back for a second? Well, you can.
Oh, you already have one?
You can profess your love over the air. I think this is the only day of the week you're not on the radio. You are? You're not filling in for somebody? Filling in for the finance show or something? Are you on both then? Yeah.
Wow.
Why, you can't stay awake? You can't do
3 a.m. Do you have to be there? You have to wake up at 3 a.m.? Wow.
Which is okay if you do it every day, but when you have to switch gears from daytime to nighttime, that's a little difficult.
What's Blazer going to do without you? So you'll be there for Mike on Monday, Tuesday? Monday and Tuesday.
Monday, Tuesday.
Chuck Douglas, Power, 3 hours. You still do the Power Hour, though, on those days? So you have to go and come back? Well, that's a long day.
We don't have time for that.
That's a long day. I mean, do you go back to the studio for that?
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, dead air. Toot, toot, toot.
Come on, you guys got something to say.
We
This is the time, Brian, you can air your grievances for the world to hear.
I have no grievances.
You have none?
I have none. No, everything's
Wow.
good.
I have another news story, but I'll save it for next week. It's about Amazon cutting off our Second Amendment information.
30 seconds.
So,
30 seconds. Is that accurate, Elle, or what's it now?
20 seconds.
20 seconds. Okay.
14, 13, 12, 11, 10,
Can you do the countdown from 5 in?
5, 4, 3.
I told you she was good, Brian.
Close.
She was
Yep.
good.
Here we go.
1.
From LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is On Target, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program may not be politically correct, but it is On Target. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Eric, joined today in the LAPD studios. I got all kinds of friends with me here. I got JC to my left. I got Big Ed here to my right. I got my good buddy, Sergeant McKean. I got Chuck Douglas in the audience. You know, if you, we were talking
What would you do without us?
I know. We were talking on the break and stuff. He's going to be filling in for Mike Monday, Tuesday, so get up early and listen to him.
Mike who?
He has to get up early. Mike Elliott.
Oh,
I don't know, Mike.
Elliott.
Jeez. Guys, for the rest of our time today, we're going to talk about something, and this is really good because it's such a hot topic right now in the gun industry, optics for your pistols. And I, admittedly so, was kind of a naysayer. I don't need no optic. I haven't needed it for 25 years. Why do I need it now? Our department went to a new duty gun that allowed us to put an optic on it.
What was that gun?
That was the FN 509.
Yes, yes.
And all the kids were putting optics on, so I had to, put an optic on it. And probably like most people who put it on for their first time, I said, this thing don't work. I don't see no dot in here. I mean, where's the dot? And fortunately, we were able to go take a class with Sergeant McKean, who does a ton of training on this, and it really opened my eyes, literally, on this. So we thought we'd have him in here today. Brian, you know this stuff inside and out, can help with it. So appreciate you being here.
Well, thank you so much. And I think we actually brought you kicking and screaming into that class,
yes.
wasn't it?
Yes.
I don't think you walked in on your own accord.
I think I was almost double the age of most people, it seemed like, in there. I mean, all the new kid stuff. But it was good. I mean, it really, it's what I needed personally, because every time I went to qualify, I'm thinking, how is this helping? How is this helping? But some of the techniques you showed and, some of your narratives on it really did help. So taking a step back, you have your carry gun, you have your gun for the range. Why the heck do I want to put an optic on this gun now?
I think it's the same thing as with a rifle. So anytime we add some sort of augmented sighting system to any sort of firearm, it's going to help us. It's going to help us see better. It's going to help us, hit our target. And depending on what our mission is, I'm using my air quotes mission on whatever we're trying to do with this firearm, it's going to help us. Now, there's things that it's not going to do. So it's not going to fix any other sort of problem that you're having with your shooting, but it definitely makes you a much better shooter as far as being able to look at your target. And if you think about kind of what we do in law enforcement as far as being when we might have to use a gun, being able to look at that target and being able to see that target at that moment that we might be pulling that trigger, that's huge. The idea that with iron sights we're going to have to stare at the front sight, which is traditionally what training has been, and then at that moment where we're going to squeeze that trigger, we're going to pull our focus back to that front sight instead of on the target. I think this solves that. Now we can stay visually engaged with whatever we're dealing with and make those decisions right up into that moment.
And your both eyes are open at this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
single plane.
That's the hard thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like what you said, single plane too. So we're only looking at the target on one plane. I think that's good too. When we close one of our eyes, now we're basically cutting half of our peripheral vision off as well. So
does it make a difference? I mean, do you see when you get guys and girls, law enforcement officers committing to it, are you seeing a difference on the range?
Absolutely. So, but I think it comes with a price. And so, here's the problem: you have guys that have been shooting for a long time. So they put this red dot on there, and they think. And I looked over at you.
Yeah.
But, yes, because we were talking earlier. But yeah, they throw this. They throw this red dot on there, and they think it's going to be like putting a turbo on their car, and suddenly they're just going to have all this extra skill and performance, and it just doesn't work that way.
It is not like a laser. I mean, a laser you look down and see where it goes. But this is. That was my issue. Was like, wow, no.
Is there statistics to show besides just what you saw in your classes, or is there written statistics?
I think there is. I mean, I think there's some stuff out there.
I can just say with the students that I've had, I've definitely seen an increase with my own journey. So my journey with this began about 6 or 7 years ago, and so I would say a fairly decent shooter then. And so when I threw that red dot on top of the gun, the first thing I noticed was all of my times went down by like 15 or 20%. So it's, anytime you're improving your castle, you have to kind of tear down that wall. And so that's hard for people. And I think that's people who are kind of rooted in what they've been doing. This is the problem, is that they see that degradation in their skills. And so then they give up on it. And so again, this is like making that castle bigger, doing that renovation project. There's going to be some pain. You're going to get worse before you get better. But when you get better, I've noticed my personal journey, I'm about 15 to 20% faster, and the accuracy is just way better.
So can you, if someone puts it on, and Ed, I don't think you have any on yours, do you?
I do not have any, and I was like you, and I'm still like you. I have a hard time looking down first of all, keeping both eyes open. Secondly, finding the dot. And I don't want to take that 2 seconds, 3 seconds, whatever it's going to be to find that dot when I'm in a situation where I need to fire.
Exactly. And that's
the scary thing for me on my part, and that's why I've never gone to it.
So do your guns that you have, do they co-witness? Because that's what I found when I first someone gave me one. They did not co-witness. I'm looking at the sites, and I'm going, wait a minute, where is this thing? And I spend my time doing this. And someone said, oh, here, try this. And they had co-witness. They had to raise sites. I think it was on like a 510 FN. And they were raised up. And as I pulled up to look at my sites, there was the dot.
No
and I
kidding.
went, hallelujah, I'm home. But there is a difference. It really made a difference.
Yeah, and I think the co-witness thing is very important, especially for those shooters who are definitely in that iron sight mindset, because in that moment where you might have to use it, you might go back to that.
Right.
And so then if those sights aren't there, I think that can be a problem.
Can it be a detriment? I mean, if you put this on your gun, and we sell a lot of them here, people are eager to put them on. If you put them on and you don't train, you don't practice, can it be a detriment? Like Ed said, can you rely on it and you go in that time of need and now, and it seems funny because you think, well, what do you mean you can't see the dot? But I'm telling you, you go up there and it's like you're fishing. Like, where the heck is the dot?
Yeah.
Right.
So again, I often tell people when I'm teaching classes that the dot is kind of like love. If you are looking for it, you're not going to find it. But if you stare at that target and you present that gun with a good true index, that dot is just going to be there. So when you look at like the bend-in aiming concept, that whole stereo vision and the way that your eyes work, they're built for this. So it's much easier to teach a shooter, and we haven't talked about like new shooters, but it's very easy to teach a new shooter or even an older shooter to shoot with these.
Again,
I did. I looked over here again. But
Yeah.
it's a lot easier to teach them when they can stay target focused. They only have one thing to line up. They don't have two things. Yeah. And there's not like, as a trainer, when you explain to someone, okay, equal height, equal light, and you're going to put this notch in here, that's a very complicated thing to explain. If you tell someone, okay, interrupt your vision with this handgun, this is your index, and then do you see that dot on the target? And they say yes. Okay, that's where the bullet's going to go. And so that's a much easier training methodology.
So with that theory in mind, here a scenario of you have multiple guns. Only one of them has the red dot on it. You use that as your duty weapon in your line of work. And then maybe you're off duty and you're not carrying a gun with a sight on it. Do you have a problem going back to the iron sight from using a red dot all the time?
Ed, it is the exact question that I asked him.
Yes.
And his answer to this, it changed it for me.
So I believed exactly like you believe, Ed. I thought that I had to make this big switch over. So I have to rebuy red dots for all my guns. But what I found out is when I went back and I picked up those guns with the iron sights, because I had perfected my index with the red dot, because I'll tell you, the red dot does require you to have a little bit better index. When I went back to the iron sights and I presented the gun, the iron sights were just lined up. So it actually made me a better iron sight shooter.
But you're going back from open eyes to one eye.
So here's the other thing. I shoot my irons with both eyes open, and I shoot target focused, so I don't stare at that.
Did you do that before?
Well, I think getting older has helped me not stare at the front sight because I can't see it anymore.
Right. Valid point.
So it's all just a big blur up there. But yes, I was transitioning from being front sight focused to being target focused as part of this journey. So once I went to the red dot, it just helped in that journey.
And Ed, I mean, what he's saying, so it did help me. I mean, because my presentation got better. Things that I wasn't good on with that got cleaned up, and it made me, I noticed a little bit better on the iron sights, and that's what sold me on it. I'm like, because I didn't want to lose the ability to use the iron sights. I don't know why I was thinking that, but that's exactly the mindset that I went into going into.
It's not so much losing the ability of using iron sights as much as you change your shooting ways with a red dot, and then you practice with it. You carry it on duty. And then you go back to an off-duty gun that doesn't have a red dot on it, and all of a sudden you're in a scenario where you need it. Is it going to be an obstruction or in a crucial situation?
Yeah,
that hasn't been my experience. I don't, I can't speak for everybody, but that hasn't been my experience. I think you'll find that actually when you go back to the iron sights, you'll have increased performance with them. So to me, it becomes very seamless.
Well, I may give it an opportunity then with my.
Yeah, you have a couple. You have a couple guns we could throw it on.
It makes me very nervous to think that, first of all, transitioning to a red dot and not being able to find it in time, and then going back to not carrying a red dot. and going back to iron sights. And I guess the biggest thing for me is shooting 2 eyes open, which I have. Maybe that's why I'm not finding the dot, because I keep closing an eye. I don't know, but
well, something to it. And this was, and we did this in the class. That both eyes open. Once you get acclimated to that, it's more comfortable. I found myself saying, "Wow, this is great." And Brian, when you're saying focus on the target, I mean, you're looking at the target and the dot appears. And one of the things you did, you did it for a bunch of us and stuff, you put tape over the optic.
Yes. So
I'm like, yeah. So
what happens is people will tell me, I'll tell them, hey, don't look at the dot, don't look for the dot, just look at the target, the dot will appear. But people don't always listen, especially our children and students. And so what we do is we just take some painter's tape or anything and we just occlude that dot. And what that does is when you present, let's say if you're using blue painter's tape and you present and all you see is blue, then that tells me you're looking for that dot. But if you see the target and then that dot just appears on the target, then that tells me that you're target focused. And so we'll use that occluding the dot to kind of help people in that journey. Now, again, we don't want people to leave that tape on their optic forever, right? We're just using it as a training tool.
Yeah,
I'm not sure I understood the theory behind that, but
when you do it, I mean,
you're covering up the red dot with a piece of blue tape.
Correct, the back side of it. So it's just like the old, if you go way back to like the first aim points that were actually occluded, that's how it works. It works on the bend-in aiming concept, and it uses our stereo vision. So if I'm looking through one tube with my left eye, and it has just a red dot on there, and you can't see through it, it's occluded, but my other eye is open, our brains are smart enough to put those two images together. And that's kind of the way the red dot works. Do you have a red dot on your rifle?
Yes.
It's the same way. So all of these things, did you have these same fears with the rifle?
I didn't. I think I had a red dot right from the beginning on a rifle. I didn't go iron sights only first. I went right to the red dot. And I didn't have a problem with a rifle.
The difference is the quickness. I mean, when you practice a hull or anything, it's like getting it up, with a rifle.
It's steadier.
It seems I always have significant amount of time, and it seems to work really well. But with handguns, especially ones that don't co-witness, and for co-witness just means that the red dot is right where your iron sights would be, for those of you who don't understand it. And a lot of them are higher, and you go to pull them up, and they're not there, and that's the importance. Let me just, real quickly, I took a class down at TDI, and we did the FBI drill, and there were like 35 people out there. One was a lieutenant from Hamilton County, who was the firearms instructor for there, and he brought 2 new people. They had just and they did better than, they had red dots. None of the rest, there's one other guy who had red dots out of the 35 of us. And they outshot. We were like looking at each other going, they just sat there with that red dot, especially at the distances. They were like, just really popping them on there. And when we brought our targets back, I happened to be next to them. I'm going, so I talked extensively to him. But anyway, he just said, hey, this is the future. This is what they're going to be doing. Everyone's going to be having it. And they started out that way and never had shot really without a red dot. So they were right there, but seeing what they did in that class really blew me away.
So are you behind these as far as manufacturing these? Or are you just selling them?
No, I don't. All I do is teach people how to use it.
I thought you said you were the marketing of them.
No, not at all. And we're going to get to specific brands here after the break. Before that, though, Brian, I want to talk for a second. If you finally committed to it. Ed committed to getting a red dot. He gets it.
He did.
The first thing,
I did.
The first thing you do, you need to have it mounted and sighted in. We recommend, and this sounds self-serving, but it's not, bring it to someone who knows what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Sean, our gunsmith, does it all day long. He does it for entire departments, and he'll do it. He'll mount it correctly. He'll zero it correctly, and he'll put a target in there showing that it's zeroed. So if you're not hitting the middle of the target, it ain't the gun, guys.
Right.
But it's worth it. It's not expensive. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, we, especially for our professional users, like we don't let any of our officers carry anything that's not mounted by us, and we're armors, and as you well know, and then if we get into a pickle, we bring it up here, and then, and then you guys help us fix it. But yeah, I think it has to be mounted professionally. It has to be sighted in. We sight in all the guns for our officers, and that's how we do it.
So you get it on, you get it sighted in, you're good to go. You got to start practicing, right?
Yeah, I think you have to start practicing, and we go back and forth about like how much time do we really need to get proficient. I believe it's somewhere between 30 to 40 hours of like concentrated training. in addition to your 3 to 5 times a week of 5 to 10 minutes of dry fire. So when you start adding that time up, we're talking about a significant amount of time here. I mean, we're talking about hours to get there. That's why I say you really are kind of rebuilding that skill wall. But the good thing is, once you get there, you're gonna see performance gains. You're gonna be able to shoot targets at like pistol shots on silhouettes at 180 yards, 200 yards, no problem.
Wow.
Yeah.
Brian, do you think, I mean, we always talk about shooting being a perishable skill. Is that hold true for this too, or is it something that once you get it, it's like riding a bike and you next time you pick it up, you're going to still have it?
I think it's easier to maintain than the iron-sighted shooting because it's a little bit more natural. We're using our eyes in the way that they're naturally designed to work, especially in times where it's high stress. In high stress, if someone is trying to kill me, I'm going to want to look at them. That's
Right.
how we're built. And so to force myself to pull back to that front sight, that's unnatural. So I think this plays into just how we're naturally built. So I don't see that sort of degradation of skill like we see with the iron sights.
Perfect. Guys, we're going to jump to a break. On the other side, we have a couple of different ones here in front of us. We just want to get your take and thoughts on the color of the dot, something that is enclosed emitters, not enclosed emitters, all that good stuff, and if it makes a difference.
Reticle size, too.
Reticle size, all that good stuff. Guys, we're on Target broadcasting live from the studios of LEPD Firearms and Range. We'll be back after the break.
There's not much we can do about the weather.
That's good, Edward.
Interesting. What do you guys use over there?
So right now the officers are allowed to purchase their own. We don't provide them. We provide them the gun, but we don't provide them the dot. We're hoping to change that in the near future. But right now they would have to provide it, and there are only two that are allowed: the Trijicon RMRs and then the Aimpoint, the P series. So those are the only two we can carry for duty. Now, if you have an off-duty gun, your own personal gun, the list is a little bit longer. It includes the Hollow Suns and the Romeos and a lot of other options. But for duty use, just those two.
Why did you decide only two for duty? What was the breaking point on the other ones?
Exactly, the breaking point.
So
on the
hold
other
that
ones.
question. Hold that question, because that's a good question for on spending a little bit of money for it. I mean, you're going to spend sometimes as much as the gun on these,
or maybe more,
or more.
Yeah,
that's what I was just looking here, like a
Can you put a
$300
price
difference in
on
between.
that, Ed?
What's that?
Like a $300
Well, I'm
difference.
putting my life on it. I mean, I'm betting your life on it. I mean,
you should really look at it.
10 seconds.
It makes a difference. Here we go.
Your ABC first four. Your
ABC 6 first warning weather. For today, scattered snow showers are likely. Cloudy, high of 34. Tonight, mostly cloudy skies. It's going to get very cold, down to 13. Sunday, mostly cloudy skies. Evening snow is likely, high of 22. Currently 35 degrees on your severe weather station, News Radio 610 WTVN.
Stay informed, be entertained. News Radio 610 WTVN.
Yelled at again by Facebook for letting the music play too long.
What is Facebook? They're not the governor.
No, but they're
not Tampon Tim.
They will. If we let the music play too long, they give us grief.
Are you kidding?
Come on, it's Facebook. But great song choice, Ella. Is that where you're going to go to the concert? Have you made the decision to go?
Me?
Yeah. There's only one Ella around the table.
I don't know who all is over there. I might be there for all I know.
Do you think there's an Ella here?
No.
You're not going?
No, I don't think so.
AC/DC in
Are you?
Ohio Stadium. Come on.
Are you going?
I'll be there one way or the other. Maybe.
Yeah. That's the only way you're going.
Hey guys, welcome back to OnTarget. I'm your host, Eric, joined today in the LEPD studio. I got Big Ed to my right, JC, and our good friend, Sergeant McKean, talking about optics. Guys, we only got a couple minutes left, but I wanted to get to the different brands that are out there. We alluded to it before the break. There's a million different brands. Some of the big names in it, Trijicon, Aimpoint, EOTech, some of the bigger names. There's also a lot of more affordable ones out there, Holosun, Vortex, and some other ones. Brian, is there a difference? Are you getting what you paid for, or does it matter?
Yeah, I like to say buy once, cry once. So the ones that tend to be a little bit more expensive are better, but I don't want that to be a barrier for entry. So if you have someone who, they're putting this together, they want to go this route, but maybe they just can't afford that high dollar Trijicon or Aimpoint optic, they can go with a Holosun, they can go with a Romeo or some of those other brands. That's fine. Just understand that they're going to be a little bit more fragile than some of the other ones.
And you talk about fragile. I mean, as soon as I put mine on my carry gun, I was worried. Oh, I don't want to bump it. But these, I mean, you buy a good one, it's going to stand the test of time.
Yeah, we haven't had, I've been about 7 years now, and I carry it every day. I carry it for work. I carry it when I'm not at work, the same gun, same optic. And I haven't had any trouble. We're getting in and out of cars all the time, and we're training. We shoot a lot of rounds. And, these optics are built to stand the test of time, especially with the Aimpoints and the Trijicons. They know that professional end users are going to buy them, so they spend a lot of time testing them before they're out to market.
And they have a lot of warranties surrounding that.
Yeah.
Open versus closed emitters. Closed emitters being a little bit better from a dirty standpoint, I guess.
Yeah, so this is the thing that comes up a lot with these closed emitters and open emitters, and I haven't had really a problem with either one. So mine's an open emitter. That's what I carry on a day-to-day basis. And even though there's snow flurries in the forecast for today, it's just not an issue. If you think about like a single drop of rain or a single piece of snow falling directly in that emitter, I just haven't seen it. I think there are some other issues though, as far as going from inside and out, like fogging, just like your glasses. So it's a piece of glass. So there's things that you have to do. It does require a little bit more maintenance. But, even iron sights can I'm sure getting in and out of cruisers, you guys have bumped iron sights before and knocked them off before. So just like anything that you're putting on your gun, when you do that maintenance for that gun, when you do that cleaning, you're going to check all those components. Check those irons, check that optic.
Not to call you a liar, but I've never had an iron sight get knocked out of whack.
No, but you've had lint on it.
Well, I may have had lint on it, but I've never bumped an iron sight and knocked it out of whack that I couldn't shoot the gun. And that would be another big concern, and that's why I asked you during the break about your department, which one you guys choose, and you only named two, and the reasons were, what's the breaking point of your decision? And you came back with, that's
the breaking point was the issue,
So there's obviously statistics on these ones that are breaking down and how they're breaking down.
So I've personally seen, all the brands break except for the Trijicon and the Aimpoint. So that's why we go that direction.
Brian, thanks for joining us. We could have used about 20 more minutes. There's so much out there, too. Red dot, green dot, circle with it. So much more. Stop by, check us out, and we can help answer those questions, point you in the right direction. Guys, on upcoming weeks, SHOT Show's right around the corner. Are we going? Jeff, no, not this year. We got Jeff Asher coming on in a couple weeks. So much more. Thanks for spending the hour with us. And guys, as always, let's be careful out there.
Number one on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. Save 610 WTVN Columbus on your presets. Free. Never sounded so good. Get Eco.
Hey, Aaron, you know how it seems like everything just moves faster nowadays? You mean like technology and all those crazy inventions? Well, our furnace repair buyback program means you can slow down and take your time deciding what to do.
Get Eco.
We act fast so you can plan slowly. You're right, Jerry. If your furnace fails in the dead of winter, call us. We'll be right there to fix it the day you call. Boo! We're there.
All right, Ella, I'm ready when you are.
But our repair buyback means you still have time to think it over.
Here we go.
In the warmth and comfort of your toasty, warm home. And if you decide you'd rather replace that old clunker, instead of fixing it every year, we'll credit the money you spend on repairs against the purchase of a brand new furnace up to $1,500. We act fast, so you can plan slowly.
LAPD Studios on Bethel
Road. How long have you been working on that line? Good poetry takes time,
live from LAPD Studios on Bethel Road.
GetEco.com.
What's that?
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 66.
All right, hey, I'll let you know this week. We'll probably do a repeat. We'll probably do a repeat of today.
Had life insurance
and stuff. But I'll let you know. Have a good week.